My name is Lorenzo Williams. I am a three-time cancer survivor. Sickness and disease, cancer, sugar diabetes, all of these things, it has no ethnicity. It's universal. You have to make a decision. You have to decide whether you want to live. When they told me I had 3 months to live, I decided I wanted to live. I am a serial entrepreneur. In order to get an opportunity, you have to take an opportunity. People were like, well, I don't have the money to start. That's not how it works. Money is not the issue. You start, the money will show up. They say that your success is right at the end when you're ready to quit. You don't quit. You keep going. You just gotta keep going. You can't deny my story. What I represent is hope.
Welcome to another episode of Step into Success podcast. Super excited for today's conversation. I feel like the theme of the conversation today should be survive and thrive. Our guest is Lorenzo Williams from here in Milwaukee. Lorenzo has survived cancer 3 times and has also built multiple businesses during this time period. It's an incredible story. Lorenzo, thanks for being here. We're excited to get in the conversation. Just tell the audience who you are and a little bit about you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Lorenzo Williams. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am, like you said, a 3-time cancer survivor. I first initially had the experience when I was about 17 years old. I ended up with a disease called lymphoma, which is a cancer of the lymph node cells, where I had to have some procedures done, and they found out that I was a stage 3 lymphomic cancer patient. But today they call it Hodgkin's disease.
Okay.
And that's what happened to me. But that's not exactly where my life started, but that's kind of where everything began in terms of me being ill. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have a tax company. I've been in taxes for about 20 years. I own a mobile locksmith business, and then I have my health and wellness organization called Journey to a Better Health. Yeah. So.
Got it. All right. Great. Thanks for the introduction, and the fact that you're a serial entrepreneur is that's what we're wanting to learn more about, right? So when did you develop a passion for working for yourself or being an entrepreneur, and how did that start?
Well, it's really interesting. I like to be really, really transparent, because a lot of times we hear about success stories and we always think about someone that had this elaborate education and they did all of these magnificent things, but that's not kind of where my story kind of started. But actually, I started working for myself at the age of 12. I was a paper boy.
Okay.
So I kind of got a taste of what it was like to be my own boss. Around that time, I would deliver my papers and I would have the opportunity to go and collect my own money. And so that kind of put a thirst in my heart to be my own boss at a young age, actually. But to be even more transparent, I also, being a product of the inner city, the 53206 inner city area here in Milwaukee, which is probably one of the harder places to be. I did have great parents, but we come from a era where they kind of the ecosystem kind of changed early in the 80s, back when they had the factory jobs, and then they came in and took those jobs out, and then they dropped the drugs into the inner city. So part of my life ended up in that direction, where I began to get into street activity. I always knew, though, that wasn't the right direction for me, but I did get involved in that type of behavior, and at some point I was able to by looking at all of the destruction that was taking place around me, I found an opportunity to come outside of that. And I kind of took all of those skills that I had and kind of put them into something positive. And that's how I started my entrepreneur journey. Yeah.
What was that opportunity, if you don't mind speaking to it, that allowed you to get yourself out of that situation?
To be really, really honest with you, I was involved in distributing drugs. I was also, I had began to participate in using drugs. And I was trying to find my way out. You know, I seen a lot of people around me incarcerated. A lot of family members and friends ended up on drugs. And I saw a window where I had an opportunity to begin to talk to a counselor trying to find my way out. And they led me to a different lifestyle. And one of those ways was my religious belief. You know, that's where I found religion. And I began to learn some principles about how to change my life from a spiritual aspect. And that's kind of where my journey started, you know. To be really honest with you, though, I was in church for many, many years. And I also felt like there was something wrong there, even though I'm a very, very firm believer. But I found that when I went to church, I found that some of those people were hiding on a whole nother level. They were in there, and I would begin to realize that they were just there, but they were hiding on another level.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was in church, I encountered a guy, and the guy was in the network marketing industry.
Okay.
At the time, it was a company called Prepaid Legal Services.
Okay.
I don't know if that rings a bell, but he finally convinced me to come and take a look at the network marketing industry. And it was there that I really, really found myself because I had the religious understanding, but it was the network marketing industry that made all of that stuff become real for me, because the network marketing industry focused on personal development.
Okay.
Got what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when I started putting my focus on personal development, I began to realize that all of the religious understanding that I had, it began to kick in, because I realized that the more personally developed you become, the more you could hear from the Creator.
Okay.
You know, and that's kind of where my journey really, really, really started, is I began to really, really get to know myself better. And the more I began to get to know who I was, the more I was hearing from the Creator and directing me in the direction that I'm in today.
Okay, Lorenzo. So, what was that personal development like after? So you got into network marketing, and then how did you pivot from that personal development of network marketing into starting your own business?
Well, the network marketing industry is really all about. It's kind of like having your own business. Prepaid Legal Services was an independent opportunity, and it really, really depended on your development to see how far you would go with that. As a matter of fact, there's a saying in the network market industry: is the person with the most personal development is the person that makes the most money.
Okay.
So what that looked like was reading positive information, positive affirmations to oneself, constantly building, having scheduled activity regularly, spaced repetition, meaning doing things over and over again where you program yourself to be positive. So that's kind of what that looked like for me. And as I began my entrepreneur journey, like what I learned in network marketing was this: in order to get an opportunity, you have to take an opportunity. And most people don't know this. So the average person is really, really picky about the opportunities that they might take.
Mm-hmm.
So an individual that thinks of themselves a certain way wouldn't go work at McDonald's, because they would think that that's lower than them. But what they don't know that is, if you took the opportunity at McDonald's, then there may be an opportunity within that opportunity that you're missing that you'll never get because you didn't take the opportunity. You got what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And when you're in an opportunity, you should be looking for an opportunity in the opportunity. So most people get into jobs or get into different things, and the reason they end up stuck is because they never were looking for an opportunity in an opportunity. Got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, for instance, when you guys invited me to come out and have this interview with you, well, when I came in, I was very grateful to come in, but I came in looking for an opportunity in the opportunity to meet you, to establish the relationship, to get someone to be a part of my journey, because I know that the journey that I'm on, I need strong people like yourself. So I'm looking, even though I'm here for an interview, I'm looking for the future in the opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's where most of us lack at.
Yeah. So it's like a perspective shift then that kind of
Mm-hmm.
happens, because I think I've experienced something similar with like being an artist, right? Once I started training my eyes to see certain things to draw, I started seeing the world differently. So that's almost like putting on the entrepreneurial eyes of seeking opportunity in every experience. I like that. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
So how long were you in the network marketing opportunity for?
I was in network marketing. As a matter of fact, I would like to say that I made network marketing a part of my life.
Okay.
It's a part of my process and everything that I do, actually. But in the network marketing industry with prepaid legal, I would say I was in it for about 5 or 6 years. But I began to, because I am an entrepreneur spirit, I began to look for opportunities. So I began to take those principles and add them to some of the things that I would want to do. And if you're an entrepreneur spirit, we're kind of a weird kind of people. And anybody that's an entrepreneur, we're weirdos, first of all, because we're always thinking of ways to make something happen. And we have all of these great ideas, and before you know it, we're chasing 20 rabbits.
Yeah.
And we're constantly creating.
Yeah.
And I'm a creator. Not only only am I just the entrepreneur spirit, I'm a creator. So there hasn't been a business that I've ever had that I've had the franchise concept. I've always started every business I had, and it's always been something that I've created.
Yeah.
The process. There's nothing new under the sun. So principles is always taken from another principle, but I've always been a creative. You got what I'm saying? Any African American community, one that's not educated, you'll probably find very limited tax organizations from a black male that comes from the inner city that didn't have an education. So I've always thought out of the box. So it's probably few and in between how many African American male tax companies it is.
Right.
That come from my demographic, where I come from.
Was that your first company? Was the tax company? Is that the first one you built?
Was that the first? No. As a matter of fact, when I began to transition myself from the streets, I began to sell merchandising. I began to sell purses and oils and things. So like I said, I've always had this mentality of the entrepreneur. As a matter of fact, when I got into the network marketing business, and I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean when I say taking an opportunity and finding an opportunity in the opportunity.
Okay.
All right. So I took the opportunity to get out of the streets when the person introduced me to my religious belief. I took that opportunity and I began to build on that. But while I was building on that, I ran into an individual, like I said, that was trying to recruit me to get into the network marketing industry. It took some time for me to do it because I wasn't that fond of the original person that introduced me to it. But I finally broke down and went and took a look at the opportunity. Well, once I took the opportunity, I merged with some other guys and I had an office.
Okay.
So I opened up this really, really nice office because for the presentation that we were trying to present. And right beneath me, so you're always trying to find perspectives or prospects for your opportunities. So we was providing legal services. Downstairs from me was a guy who had opened up had a tax company. And so I went down to try and recruit my services and have him add my services to his tax company, because people need legal services. So if I could convince this guy with these 20 offices to take on these services, he was not interested, but we ended up in a conversation and he came up and saw the way I had put together my office. And he said to me, well, hey, why don't you come help me grow my market, my tax company? So that opportunity to sell legal services led me to an opportunity to become a tax professional. Well, the first year he made me a manager, and by the third year I was his district manager.
Wow.
Got what I'm saying? Never done taxes before, but I saw the opportunity. Well, when I was in my third year as a district manager, I was over all of his stores. And at the end of the season, I got like a $25,000 bonus.
Nice.
But in that, he also had to show me the numbers. And I saw the type of numbers that he was getting. And I said, well, I got to start me a tax company. So I started a tax company. You got me? And when I started the tax company, I had a guy come into my tax office who had a car dealership. And he wanted to get his taxes done. And I asked him, well, how can I get involved in that? This guy added me to his car thing, and I was able to go to the auction and buy cars. I didn't tell you I did that. And while I was doing that, I realized that I could start my own car dealership. So I opened up a car dealership.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Got what I'm saying? Now I have my tax company. I have my car. I have a car dealership. So I went and got a car place where I sold cars. Inside of the building, there was an area where I could open up a mechanic shop. So I opened a mechanic shop, right? So a guy came in, and I kept losing keys for my car, so I had to keep calling on a locksmith to come out and make keys for me. So one day I asked the guy who was making my keys, can I pay you to teach me how to locksmith? So I paid a guy to teach me the locksmith. Now I have a mobile locksmith business. I shut the dealership down, and I got a mobile locksmith business. And Rick and the other guys, they've seen it. Very nice, huh, Rick? Very nice locksmith business. And so now I have that. And in the midst of me having a dealership, though, is when I ended up with cancer. Okay. So I had to put the dealership kind of on pause momentarily. But I said that I told my family that if I survive this, I'm going to turn this into something great. I'm going to create a foundation. This was in the middle of me having cancer, being given stage 4 cancer, where I told them I was going to start a foundation. But if I survive, I'll become a millionaire from my story.
Got it.
Somewhere along the line, I was able to find opportunity in any situation that I'm dealing with.
Love it.
And so I made it through the cancer, and now I do have a foundation. And we have started Journey to a Better Health.
Which is your other business.
Which is our organization where we help people all over the country with health and nutrition.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, wow. All right, Lorenzo, there's so much there to go into.
Yeah.
So we got time. We got time to talk about all this.
Okay.
I want to direct this back a little bit to the first business that you started, the tax business. You realized there was an opportunity to make significant amount of money by starting your own tax business. What was that first step you took to actually open that business? How did opening the tax business itself come to be? Did you have to get, a space? How did you acquire clients? Like, tell us all about that.
Well, what I found out was this. Now, this I did find out through my religious understanding or my belief. What I found out is that whatever you have inside of your head, it's only a reality inside of your head. Everything that you see that's outside of your imagination realm, the chair you're sitting in, that fancy jacket you have on, those fancy boots we have on, Everything, even this building, was someone's imagination, right?
Yeah.
But your imagination doesn't become, it's only in the unseen realm. And it doesn't become a part of the seen realm until you take it from the unseen realm and you put it into the seen realm. How do you do that? The only way that you take something from the unseen realm to the seen realm is you have to write it down. Once you write it down, you've automatically taken it from the unseen realm to the seen realm. Now it's in this realm. Once it's in this realm, it can produce. One of my mentors said, and I don't know if you've ever heard of him, his name is Miles Monroe. He would ask the question, he would say, where is the richest place in the world? And people would say, well, Africa. People would give all of these different answers. And he would say, no, the most richest place in the world is the graveyard, because so many people died with things that they had in their imagination that they never brought to fruition to the seen realm because they never wrote it down.
Wow. That just gave me
Now,
chills.
all of what I have going on is legacy worthy. This podcast is legacy worthy because you took it from the unseen realm and you brought it to the seen realm. So now it's automatically legacy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started the tax business by having this in your imagination.
I had it in my head.
You wrote it down.
Wrote down my name of my company.
And then went out and made it happen.
I wrote it down. I said, what's the name of my tax company? The name of my tax company is going to be Integrity Tax Service. I wrote it down. I went and bought me a laptop. I bought me some software. I went and got me a tax identification number. And I went and got the stuff that was necessary to start. So I tell people all the time, people were like, well, I don't have the money to start. Well, you'll never get started because that's not how it works. Money is not the issue. You start, the money will show up. You have to start. And that's what I do with everything I ever have started. I just start. Where's the money coming from? I have no idea where it's coming from. All I know is I'm starting. And that's how I live. I really live this way.
Wow.
I live this way right now today. Everything I want to do, I have a clothing line. After I was given 3 months to live, I just do what I want to do. I got 2 Rolls Royces. They're older Rolls Royces, but they were on my bucket list. They're my Rolls Royces. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How did I get the Rolls Royces? I have no clue. I decided I was going to get a Rolls Royce, and I went and got one. I got a clothing line that I started. Where am I going with this? I have no clue, but it's already in the earth.
Wow.
This is how I live. And this is how I try to tell people that you should live. Don't wait for money to start. You start, but you're not going anywhere as long as it's right here and you don't write it down and turn it into something.
So Lorenzo, that's all very inspirational. I think, not having money to get started is something that concerns a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, I think even for myself, right? Like if I was going to start a clothing line and I didn't have enough money to do it, I wouldn't really know where to get started. And is what you're saying, if I understand this correctly, is you first got to start by writing it down and bringing it into reality, into the seen realm, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the next step? After I write it down, what is the next step? Whether it's a tax business, clothing line, car dealership, what is the next thing that you would do after you write down this business idea to bring it into the seen realm?
What's really, really interesting is once you write it down, and just what you have going on. What's interesting is once you write it down, it automatically forces you, if you're serious, to get started. Once you write the vision down, there's a scripture that's in the writings. Well, and I'm very, very, because I'm a believer, but I am a believer. I'm a Christian. I follow the Christian belief, but I don't know if I would say that I'm a Christian. I am what I would call I believe in the fruit of the Spirit.
Okay.
All right. Which is love, joy, peace, long suffering, meekness. And there's some ideology behind that. But what I find is that it kind of just flows once you realize that when you make up your mind and you understand this concept that I'm telling you, it kind of just falls and flies. You write it down, and in the writings it says, write the vision, make it plain,
Okay.
so those that can read it will take it and run with it, right? But before you can expect for someone else to run with it, you have to believe it yourself. So you have to start the process. So the clothing line, I didn't start the clothing. When I started the clothing line, the first person that I created it for was me to wear. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to put it on. I wanted to feel it so that when someone else seen it, and then guess what I noticed when I put it on? What people would say, that's interesting.
I like that.
Where'd that come from? Like, these are my logos. What you see is my logo. So I create it and I wear my logo. For the most part now, I only wear my own clothes. I wanted to wear my own clothes. That's my thought process. I can go wear Polo, I can wear Michael Kors, I can wear Tommy Hilfiger. Well, why come I can't? My clothing line is called royalty wear. Why come I can't wear my own clothing line? So that's kind of the concept. You have to really, really believe in what it is you're doing. That's kind of where you start. You write it, you get all of the things in order to make it legit, and you walk in it.
What would you say to people who maybe have an idea, but they're struggling with self-doubt, and maybe they want to believe that they can do it, but there's something inside of them that's kind of holding them back? How can they cultivate that self-belief, do you think?
I think it all comes back to personal development.
Okay.
All right? Because when an individual is lacking self-development, then it's really, really too hard to believe in yourself. You have to build yourself up. You have to listen to positive information. They often say that it's also people, places, and things, right? They say that you become the average of the 5 people that you be around the most. If you're around 5 broke people that's negative, then you're supposed to be the number 6. So one of the ways that you do that, you begin to pay attention to your environment.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to eliminate things from your environment in order to build yourself up. The other thing is it has a lot to do with your upbringing and the traumas that you incurred, things that you've been through. This is another thing that we don't like to talk about, is trauma. Like I come from a traumatic background. I have many friends that have died. I have many friends that have been on drugs. I've watched my parents go through things. One of the key components in all of this is making a decision. You have to make a decision. You have to decide whether you want to live. When they told me I had 3 months to live, I decided I wanted to live. The name of my book is called Keep Living. When death was the prognosis, I decided to keep living.
Wow.
Regardless to what anybody else has to say, you have to decide that you want to keep living. So to any person that's struggling in that area, you have to make up your mind that you want to live, and only you can do that.
What were some of the emotions that went through your mind when you got that prognosis that you only had 3 months to live? And was that the second time you were diagnosed with cancer? So first time was when you were 17.
First time I was 17.
And then second time was?
The second time was in 2018. I was diagnosed with a rare bladder cancer that they had limited case study on. Okay.
And is that the one that you were given 3 months to live?
Shortly after that, because what happened was I was told that they needed to take my prostate and my bladder out. Wow. No, not my prostate. My bladder and my something else. They were trying to take some body parts out of me. And I told them, no, I wasn't going to let them do this. So we researched and we went over to the Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic said that they could take 10% of my bladder, and they ended up taking 20% of my bladder. And not only did they take 20% of my bladder, you have on each side of your body in your lower bladder area, you have 22 lymph nodes on each side. They took all 22 lymph nodes from my left side, and then 3 months later, after this surgery, the cancer came back, spread it into my stomach and into my rib cage. And they told me then that I had 3 to 6 months to live.
Wow.
And there was nothing else that could be done for me except for that they could offer me more chemo and things of that nature. And we turned down all traditional medicine and we won. We beat the cancer. The cancer began to shrink in my body. The very doctor that told me that I had 3 months to live has made a statement saying that he's never seen anything like this before in his whole career, my situation. And my situation, they have no record of anyone that has survived the type of cancer that I had the way that I have. There's no record.
Wow.
Except for me.
And so how did you make that decision? I mean, I would imagine for most people getting a prognosis like that, especially so recently after what you had just gone through with the surgeries and having, all of that removed, how did you decide for yourself, no, I'm not going to go this route with treatment? And what was your mental state during that time that allowed you to then heal from that?
It was traumatic. I mean, it was traumatic, but I had I have a wonderful partner, which at the time she was my fiance. We've been married 6 years, but we've been together for almost 9 years.
Okay.
All right. And so when the doctor gave me this prognosis, I had already made up my mind that I was going to fight. And I told her that I wanted to fight, and we came into agreement with one another. And we went on a mission. We just decided that we weren't going to give up. We we're going to keep fighting, especially after they told me I wasn't going to live. My wife said something that was very, very phenomenal. She said, first of all, when you're dealing with a doctor, our disclaimer is this, because and what we're doing, and we would love for you guys to help us to push this, because we're not coming against the doctor. That's my disclaimer. You need the doctor. You have to get your diagnosis. But what we're saying to the doctor is what do you do when you have told us that there's nothing else that you can do for us? That's our question to the doctor. So what I represent is hope. That's what I represent. And so that's what we're trying to get the medical field to see in order to be a part of what we're doing. When you have told people there's nothing else you can do for them, involve us into the process, because we represent hope. Because my story, you can't deny my story, because you gave me 3 months to live and I'm here.
Yeah.
So did you always have like an interest in non-traditional medicines? Or I guess actually, would that be like traditional medicine, what you do, like more organic?
It would be more non-traditional.
Non-traditional.
It would be holistic.
Holistic. Okay, got it.
It
So
would be the holistic theory. Yeah.
perfect. Did you always have an interest in holistic healing, or did you start learning about it when you realized there weren't other options? Can you tell us about that?
No, I did not. I had no clue, which is probably the majority of us.
For sure.
That we're very, very limited in our understanding as it relates to nutrition and our bodies in a whole, which is one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about. But my wife was already on the journey of the natural journey. My wife was on that natural journey, and she kind of put me on the journey with her. I was already, when I got with her, she was on a natural journey. So before I had my diagnosis, I was already kind of on that journey with my wife. And so that's how I ended up there. But no, I wasn't on. I knew nothing about nutrition at all. I didn't know anything about nutrition. So, yeah.
And so coming from, you decide you're going to fight and take this holistic approach. What did those next steps of your journey look like for you? Were you having to make drastic lifestyle changes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you go on this type of understanding, there was lots of research, lots of understanding. There's a lot of things that actually destroy our bodies that we need to really, really figure out how to deal with. And so we have to cut out a lot of stuff. There is the sugar. There's the fructose inside of products that we need to leave alone. We had to let go of the meat, dairy, sugars. We cut everything out. We changed the very products that we use in our home, on our bodies. Not only are you dealing with what you're putting in your body, you're dealing with what you put on your body. Then we're dealing with environment. There's environmental issues all around us. So when you begin to deal with sickness and disease, there's a drastic lifestyle change that needs to take place because your body needs certain things. That's kind of where I wanted to go in certain areas, because when it all boils down to it, all comes back to your cells. What people don't realize is we're so concerned about this world outside of our body, but there's a whole different world that's going on the inside of your body at all times.
Mm-hmm.
You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have cells that's operating at all times in your body that we need to understand. You have your pituitary gland that sits at the bottom of your brain, and it's a regulator for all of your hormonal. It releases hormones in your bodies, and it's in all of your cells. They have like regulators on them that communicate with the pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland, it has so many different functions. It deals with that different hormones that deal with your body. It deals with your stress hormones. It deals with your growth development hormones, your sex hormones, your nerves. It's so many different things that the pituitary gland deals with that you have to understand. You have your white blood cells. You have your red blood cells. We need to understand how these things work. What people don't know is that your white blood cells, when you look up the definition of what it is, it's your warriors. It's your warring cells, and they're warring against what are called radical cells that's in your body that comes from stress oxidation. Stress oxidation happens in your body when your body's not getting the nutrients that they need, where it's not getting the oxidation that it needs. Well, stress oxidation causes radical cells in your body, and it forms cells that begin to fight against your normal cells. So your body is, that's why and I go back to the creator, how magnificent the creator is, because he's created inside of you an organism that's working 24/7. And we don't even understand how this works. We're so busy putting things that we shouldn't be putting in our body that we don't even understand how these things work. You have, you have your red blood cells. Well, what is your red blood cells? Well, a lot of people don't understand that your red blood cells is what carries your oxygen. That's how you breathe. It's your hemoglobin. So we need to be protecting these different areas. And the only way to protect these different areas is it all goes back to nutrients, proper nutrition, the right vitamins that go to your body. So these are the things that we want to educate people on and get them to understand what needs to happen in order for your body to function. And just quite frankly, this is not what's been talked about. We're not talking about these issues. We're more concerned about just consuming whatever we want to consume, which is the things that in most cases are the things that's terrible for your body.
Yeah. So how have you gone from this personal journey then of your story to now wanting to bring this into your organization to reach other people and help them heal?
Well, what we did was because we have a heart for people. To be honest with you, in the last 6 years, May 2024 will be 5 years of this miraculous healing that took place in my life. Noted. And we haven't really taken the time out for ourselves. We took all of the recipes and everything that we've done, and we've turned it into different things. We've created over 5 teas. One of the teas, which is our biggest seller, it focuses on inflammation and mucus, and everything that's in the tea is all stuff that fights against inflammation and mucus in the body.
Okay.
Inflammation and mucus is really where your body begins to formulate disease. We have to do what we need to do to stay away from the inflammation and mucus. One of the biggest things that causes inflammation and mucus in our bodies is dairy.
Okay.
You got what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Dairy causes inflammation and mucus in the body. Why? We drink not to come against the milk industry, but we're drinking milk, and milk is from an animal that has 8 stomachs, and it produces milk. So if you're drinking milk, and there's a history behind how this happened too, by the way, which can be discussed at another time. But as a mother or a father, you take your child and you give them cow milk. Well, the woman produces milk for a reason. But we give our babies Similac and cow milk, unnatural things. And then another thing that we say, just that's really serious, we say that we have to have meat for protein, right? And most of the meats that we eat usually is the cow. Well, the cow doesn't eat meat. So where does it get its protein from? Since we have to have meat for protein. And then if you look at the animal world, the most strongest and longest living animals that there are all animals that don't eat meat. The gorilla, the giraffe, the hippopotamus, all of those animals that's the strongest and longest living animals, none of them eat meat. The gorilla is probably one of the strongest animals. And if you look at the gorilla, you'll see it eating fruit all day. So where is it getting its protein from? So we've been trained wrong. So Journey to a Better Health is one of those organizations that want to educate people on what we need to do. And we're not telling people that you need to be a vegan, although a plant-based lifestyle is what's necessary if you want to heal. What we're telling people is that you need to cleanse your body regularly. You have to cleanse your body and give it the proper nutrients that it needs. And if one is a religious person, in every religion, it talks about fasting and cleansing the body. People misappropriate the understanding of what fasting is. Fasting is discipline. Disciplining the body and cleaning the body out so that you can reset the body and your cells so that your body can function properly. And this is what we want to educate people on and get people to understand. And this is why we're asking individuals like yourself to become a part of this journey, because what we're finding out is when we begin to talk about a holistic journey, you often hear people come against the doctor. How are you going to come against the doctor? You need them. You often hear people come against different things, knock different. This is the Journey to a Better Health diet. And what we're telling people is cleanse your body, give your body the right nutrients that you need. Make sure that you're drinking the proper waters that you need to drink in order so that you can cleanse your body out and reset it. You have to reset your liver. You have to do that. And these are not the discussions that we're having. And this is not sickness and disease, cancer, sugar, diabetes, all of these things. It has no ethnicity. It's universal.
Yeah.
So this is a journey that we should all be on so that we can all learn how to live and survive and eat the right things. Because you can go to the gym all you want, but if you're not eating the right thing, you're still going to end up sick. The common cold that a person has is because they are suffering from an immune deficiency. So we tell people all the time, my wife and I, we don't believe that there is a such thing as cancer. Cancer is a fear name. There is no such thing as diabetes. There is no such thing as all of the names that we don't understand that we've been given. The bottom line is any individual that's dealing with any type of ailment is because they have an immune deficiency. They're suffering from an immune deficiency. That's what all disease is, down to a common cold. And the only way that you can do that is to give your body the proper nutrients that it needs in order for it to reverse itself and heal. Even people that had COVID, I ended up in ICU for 7 days not breathing on my own because I only have 75% of my immune system.
Okay.
I'm missing a thyroid. I don't have a spleen. They took all 22 lymph nodes from the left lower side of my body. I only have 20% of my bladder. They took lymph nodes from my neck, under my arm. And after the math was done, the doctors calculated 75% of my immune system left that I have. And they said I'm one of the most healthiest people that they know of. Why? Because of nutrients, cleansing the body, making sure that my blood is functioning. But because I have only a limited amount of my immune system, I still have issues because my body's always confused.
Right. So I think a good question to ask based off of what you just said is, take us through a day in the life of your diet. What time do you eat, and what nutrients are you putting in your body?
Well, I have certain eat days. I have limited meat days, but when I do eat, sometimes I eat a little fish. I love fish.
Me too.
I had to get my wife to allow me to cheat a little bit. I love perch. But a normal cleansing for my family, we just did an all liquid cleanse for 14 days. I just came off of one. And for us, it's just broths, natural broths. Like we'll go and we'll get all organic vegetables, and we'll take those vegetables, put all herbal seasonings inside of those vegetables. We'll bring those vegetables to a boil, and then we'll squeeze all of the nutrition out of it, the juices out of it, and we'll throw the vegetables away. Because most people think that when you eat greens or you eat some of that, that you're eating the nutrition. No, you've boiled all of the nutrition into the water. So we just drink on broths. We have herbal tea. We have our own tea that we created, but we believe in herbal teas. We have nutrition. It's good. B12, B6, psyllium is good for the body. Psyllium, I'm sorry. It's good to have zinc in the body. I was going to say that most people that when you had COVID, the only thing they really gave people was zinc, vitamin B12, vitamin B6. There was no other solution. And the only other thing they gave them was prednisone. Prednisone is an inflammatory that takes down inflammation. So basically, every sickness in the body basically boils down to inflammation in the body. But prednisone destroys your kidneys. Got what I'm saying? So normal diet, like when we're on a vegetable, we eat organic vegetables. We try to eat vegetables that's high in antioxidants, high in liquid like cucumbers, watermelon, hydrants. So you gotta eat lots of those type of things. That's what we did, and we watched what type of seasonings that we use. We took those things that were not good out of our diets. Yeah, it's a lot, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about the products that you offer as part of your organization? You said that they were your recipes.
Yes.
That you used while you were fighting your cancer.
Yes.
How did you take those recipes to now a product that you're able to sell and help other people?
Well, remember the concept I told you that even in death, there's an opportunity. Even in trauma, there's an opportunity. So me and my wife made a decision that any trauma that we ever did, we were going to take the trauma and we're going to turn it into a triumph.
I love that.
Right? So all of the stuff that we did, my wife documented our journey.
Okay.
Me being the entrepreneur, after coming out of that, I said, let's take that documentation and let's turn it into a product where we can help other people with the same thing that we did to win. So we took all of those documented processes and we took them and we turned them into product. Everything that we use to fight against, the sickness and disease, we took it and we added it into a tea. We created something called inflammation and mucus, a product, an herbal extract, liquid, because whenever you're fighting sickness, it's always better to have liquid because it gets to the blood cells faster.
Okay.
So we created some stuff for stress. We were taking things for stress when I was stressed out. There were so many different layers of my experience that I went through. I suffer from anxiety. Well, anxiety is one of the things that can happen to an individual that has medical trauma.
Yeah.
So we had different things, natural things that we took for stress. Well, we took those and we turned that into a tea. Herbal. So we have a tea for stress. We have a tea for inflammation and mucus. We have a tea for just relaxation. We have several different teas, and then we have several different extracts. Those are all of the recipes, the things that we use, that we experimented on ourselves on, and we took those things and we turned it into that. But we basically took our tragedy and we turned it into an opportunity.
So can we get into just like that entrepreneurial mindset of the product development? Were there any things that you had to learn during that process of packaging, labeling, marketing the product? Can you walk us through some of, so like it's one thing to have it be for you, you know the success of it, you've documented it, but then now can you walk us through turning it into a business or making it a part of your business?
Well, first things first, we wrote it down.
Okay. Yep. As you said.
First thing we came up with was a name.
Okay.
And the name we came up with was Journey to a Better Health. Because it's a journey.
Yeah.
This is a lifetime journey for me because I'm going to always have to be on this type of journey.
Right.
Because of the way of my life. So we wrote it down. And it's a really, it's not an easy process to get started, especially when you don't know. We had to get licensed and bonded. We had to find manufacturers. We got robbed lots of times from our money, from people that took advantage of us when they said they were going to help us and they really didn't help us. So it was a journey. It's a journey you have to take. And we had a person, a PR, supposed to be a PR person to help grow my story. We had to find people to help us with the book. So, you just have to do your research and you have to just keep going. I have over $100,000 plus in Journey to a Better Health. Wow. And I would say at least 30 to 40,000 of that I got robbed of. You don't quit. Yeah. You keep going. You just got to keep going. So once again, I say the first thing that a person has to do is just start. Stay motivated. And you will get disappointed. I heard someone say not too long ago that the people that's at the highest of success always ended up at the lowest. Because on your way up, you're going to have downs, but you have to keep getting up. And they say that your success is right at the end when you're ready to quit. And I'm ready to quit right now because of everything that I've been through. And then here's a door like the one that I'm in right now opens. And then I find people like yourself that want to push this type of thing. Like one of the things, I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking at you guys and I'm thinking these guys got to be a part, because I'm getting ready to do a walk for health. I want to do a walk for health. And I'm saying to these guys, you guys got to be a part of our walk for health. You got to be a part of this journey with us.
Would love to do that.
You guys got to be a part of Journey to a Better Health. You have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love
because
that.
we all need it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you said that, you got taken advantage of a few times, what are some of the red flags that people listening that are trying to start their own business and, they're seeking help? What are some of the red flags they may look for when working with others so they don't get taken advantage of? What did you learn, and what would you say that, you could share with us about that?
Well, it's kind of hard because people are so deceitful. And a lot of times people came across as completely professional and they weren't. Now, what I would suggest is that if you're going to get someone, everything you do, you get a contract written out properly, a proper contract where everything's in writing. And I would say that you don't give up your money until someone produces. A lot of times, you get started, people want to collect money up front, but they haven't produced anything. Also, I would say that you do your homework and have them show you a portfolio of a track record of who they have had some success with. You want to make sure that you look at their work and make sure that they have a portfolio. If they don't have a portfolio, sometimes you might want to just give a person a chance because, you're starting and you see someone else starting and you want to give them a chance. But you they got to show some proof that they have some success. You'll waste a whole you'll waste a whole lot of time if you don't do your homework. And I'm guilty of that, of not just trusting people and going with the flow. And people need to show you what type of producing they've done before you give them your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What are some lessons that building these, I mean, you've done so many businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some lessons that you've learned that if you could go back in time and tell your younger self that you would, to maybe avoid some of the mistakes that have been made, or maybe just even to speed up progress?
Well, it's really interesting. I found that oftentimes we have disorders and we don't even know that we have them. You got what I'm saying? All of us have disorders. There's a difference between, every person have disorders. There's a difference between having a mental health disorder and a disorder. And coming from where I come from, kind of the struggle. I have good parents and they worked hard workers, but just coming from a place where you didn't have abundance, right? I've always was afraid that I had to have more than one thing going on, because I was afraid that if one thing didn't work, that I needed to have something else going on. It's not a bad thing, because most successful entrepreneurs always say that you have to have multiple income streams. But one of the things that I think I did, and I do have some solid foundations in my businesses, but one of the things that I did is I would warn a person to not get caught up chasing too many rabbits at one time. Because it's hard to focus when you have so many different things going on at one time. You got what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's still hard for me to say, because I feel like I need to have all of these things going on, because I don't know what will happen. But I think sometimes it may have hindered me, having so many things going on at one time. I just realized that I have a disorder. I didn't realize it, but I have to have two of everything. I got 2 Rolls Royces. I got, no, seriously, I got 2 bikes. I have several cars. I have 2 offices. I have, 2 of everything. And I've noticed it because I'm doing it to my kids. My kids got 2 bikes. And they got 2 of everything. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that this is a disorder. You got what I'm saying? But I've been this way because of lack. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you just have to be careful to kind of monitor yourself to make sure that you have a balance of what you're doing, because you can chase too many things at one time and you can have some success, but you may limit your success because you got too many things going on.
Kind of comes back to like knowing yourself, like you mentioned earlier, and also the focus and discipline that we kind of talked about with like the fasting and, just really honing in on one thing and then driving that to be as successful as you can make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to say this, though. The one thing about Journey to a Better Health, again, I want to say, it doesn't make a difference what we're doing. We can have subject matters about all kinds of things, but when it all comes back down to it, I ask a person, and I'll ask you, what is your most valuable asset that you have in the earth?
I would say that my health would be the most important.
Okay.
Yeah. My life.
Your life? Well, I talk to all kind of people all over the country, and I ask this question. I hear people say, well, my children, oh, my relationship with God. And I hear people say all of these different scenarios that they use. And I tell a person all the time that your body is your most valuable asset. And why is your body your most valuable asset? Your body is your most valuable asset because once this expires, you have no more legal jurisdiction to this realm. So we should be spending most of our time focusing on how to keep this functioning. And I tell people all the time, this is why we need to be on this journey, is because no matter whether you do, I was talking to a very, very religious person, and I was trying to have a conversation with them, and they told me that, yeah, brother, every time you talk, man, you got to let people know that it was the Lord, that it was Jesus Christ that saved you. And I said, you can't look at me and see my faith after everything I've been through. You can't see that. And I said, well, I said, what's your most valuable? I said, man, the Holy Spirit, the God that I serve. I said, well, and I tell him, I said, well, once you die, you can't be in this realm anymore. So isn't your body your most valuable asset? Quiet. Church mouse. You can hear church mouse in the room. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because this is our most valuable asset. And no matter what we're doing, our ending conversation should come back to, are we taking care of our body? Do you know that stress is number 2 for sickness and disease?
I believe it.
Yeah, me too.
Especially in today's society where we're just bombarded.
Yeah, stress is number 1. We're not drinking enough. We don't get enough water in our body. Your body needs water. So water is basically oxygen for your cells.
Okay.
All right? Water and nutrition is basically oxygen for your cells. And if your cells are not getting the proper oxygen, they begin to suffocate, which is stress oxidation, which causes sickness and disease.
And that's why you came in here with this big gallon water jug.
Well, I have to drink a lot of water. My wife is really, really on me. I'm supposed to drink 2 gallons a day.
Oh, wow.
Because of what's happening in my body.
Got it.
You got what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But every individual should be drinking at least half of your body weight.
Okay.
In fluid ounces, right?
In fluid ounces.
Yep. Lorenzo, kind of wrapping up here. Elena usually always asks at the end, so I kind of stole it from her. Sorry.
Go for it.
What is success in your mind?
Okay. What is success in my mind? I have a different view of success.
Okay. Tell us.
Success is not money. Success is not materialism. Success is your health, is your wealth. Family is, to me, that's success. Peace, health, peace, family, environment, financial is an element. They often say that money is not the most important thing in the world, but it is right up there next to oxygen you need it to live.
Yeah.
So, but I just say that happiness to me is true success. You got what I'm saying? I think that that's where it really, really boils down to. I think that I've met people that's very, very wealthy and they're very unhappy. So they're not successful at all.
Right.
Got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these are the things that we need to really, really push is happiness and success and building those things out from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Lorenzo, do you have any kind of parting words as we close up this interview for people that are looking to improve their health, maybe get into business to improve their life situation? Anything that you want to impart to our audience?
Well, I think that, first of all, if a person wants to follow us, we are on Instagram, on social media. We have a website. Our website is journey2abetterhealth.com. A person can go to, once again, journey2abetterhealth.com. What I would say to a person is don't get so caught up on things, because when you get so caught up into things, it will stress you out, worrying about those things. As a believer, I think that the true representation of what God looks like is family, your children, your mate, your loved ones. When those things, that's why the enemy fights against family so much, is because when family is together, that's what he looks like. You got what I'm saying? So I think that a person, if anything that you want to seek after, you seek after it wholeheartedly, but you focus more on like the fruit of the spirit, which is love, joy, peace, long suffering, meekness. Go after those things. You know, be the person that walks in love. Be the person that walks in meekness and humility. Be that person, because that person you'll find out is the most healthy. In most cases, you'll find that out. So,
got it. Lorenzo, thanks a lot. We're going to include your website link in the video description. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Very inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. If you found today's episode to be insightful, please make sure you give us a like if you're listening on YouTube, or rate us if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other podcast platforms.
And to help us keep sharing these successful stories, please subscribe to the channel.